I, 23 female, created a life-size puppet version of my boyfriend, 22 male, and unveiled it during foreplay as a joke. However, it's been 12 hours since he last texted me, and I'm growing anxious. What should I do? For 6 months now, my boyfriend and I have kept our relationship fairly straightforward. I've always been considered quirky by some, so pulling pranks is second nature to me. Jason, that's my boyfriend, actually enjoys this side of me, which makes me glad to be with someone who appreciates my zest. Though sometimes I wonder if he genuinely finds me as funny as he claims. He always reassures me that he does. We often incorporate humor into our intimate moments, like when I indulge in my Disney character impressions during our bedroom escapades. Jason tries his hand at it too, but let's just say his voice acting skills could use some work. But here's where I may have crossed a line. Recently, I bought a sewing machine for cosplay projects, and as I played around with it, an idea struck me. During our usual routine of exchanging back rubs before moving on to more passionate activities, I typically remove Jason's glasses and set them aside for safety. In the midst of one such encounter, a hilarious notion popped into my head about how to remove his glasses differently next time. I couldn't contain my laughter, which puzzled Jason since he's a bit self-conscious about his appearance. I reassured him it wasn't about that, and we continued our fun before he headed home. But even after he left, I couldn't shake this mischievous plan from my mind. So, the next day rolls around, and I head over to the fabric store, grab some skin-colored felt, wireframing, and cotton, and dive into crafting a Muppet-style version of my boyfriend. I mean, I was really getting into it. I even scored some clothes at Goodwill that totally matched his vibe. After I decked out the puppet in his gear, I stashed it under a pile of my squishmallows in my room, then invited him over. Skipping the juicy details, things start heating up between us, but I'm practically trembling with anticipation as I reach for his glasses. Instead of tossing them on the nightstand like usual, I casually drop a line like, "I'll just pop these right here," and slip them over the felt eyes of Puppet Jason, who's chilling under the squishmallows. He seemed puzzled, looking back at where he thought he left his glasses, and then sat up, coming face to face with his felt doppelganger. I couldn't help but laugh as he asked, "Is that supposed to be me?" I whip out the Muppet from the squishmallow pile, asking him if he digs it, but he's not exactly rolling on the floor laughing. Maybe it's because the Muppet ended up slightly taller than him, which might have hit a nerve since he's around 5'7", and this Muppet was towering at about 6'1". I sensed his disappointment, so I pull out my best Goofy impression, trying to lighten the mood. "Well, looks like we should call him Big Jason, hi-yuck." But instead of cracking a smile, he just takes his glasses off the Muppet and sets them on the nightstand. He sits on the bed, kind of quiet, and even though we had plans for a sleepover in Sin City, he said he wasn't feeling great and decided to head out. I sent him a goodnight text and hit the hay. So here's the deal. This morning, I woke up to 0 texts from him, not even a good morning one, which is totally unlike him. I'm starting to worry that maybe Big Jason was a bit much, and regular Jason didn't find the joke as hilarious as I did. It feels like he's leaving me hanging by not expressing how he truly feels about it, even though I found it pretty amusing. Is this fixable, or am I in deep trouble? Update 1. It's been a roller coaster of emotions these past few days. I've been feeling pretty down about all the negativity surrounding the whole situation. After my boyfriend Jason left following our intimate encounter with Big Jason, he went radio silent for about a day and a half. I was genuinely concerned, especially with some of the harsh comments I was seeing online. It got to the point where I couldn't even bear to look at my sewing machine, the one I used to create those Disney ears, because it reminded me of Big Jason. Speaking of whom, I ended up stashing him away in the closet out of shame. I was doodling when my phone finally buzzed, and lo and behold, it was Jason. His message simply said, "Hey, can we talk?" I was a nervous wreck, but he came over to my place. Things were tense at first, considering how long it had been since we'd seen or spoken to each other, and I genuinely thought things might be over, especially given all the negativity I'd been seeing. However, he surprised me by apologizing for his behavior and explaining what had been going on. Turns out, his mom has been having an affair with multiple younger men for years, and he and his dad only found out recently, right around the time I introduced Big Jason into the picture. It wasn't about Big Jason at all. I could sense he was still upset, and while my initial instinct was to break into a Disney voice, I remembered the advice from the previous post and opted for a more sincere approach. I simply said, "I'm sorry that happened to you. I hope your family is okay." Then, the most unexpected thing happened. He said, "I'm sorry too." And then, in his endearingly off-key singing voice, belted out, "Big Jason never bothered me anyway." He even had something for him, pulling out one of his favorite slap bracelets from his childhood, a gift from his mom. He pulled me close, and we had a long, intimate hug. He did attempt to do a dramatic lift, but let's just say he's no Hercules, so it turned into this adorable, clumsy moment where we kissed before he escorted me to my royal suite. I think you can fill in the blanks from there, on the bed. Regular Jason had some smudges on his glasses from our kisses. He jokingly asked if there was anyone or anywhere he could safely set them down. That's when I brought out Big Jason, and, well, his hand fell off, but it added to the charm. It felt like a fairy tale when regular Jason placed his glasses on Big Jason's felt nose. Originally, I considered tossing Big Jason into the incinerator and forgetting about him, but I received some incredibly kind private messages that made me feel proud of my quirks, which could very well be due to autism, as some commenters suggested. And let's clear this up. Big Jason is strictly a place for regular Jason to stash his glasses and nothing more. So for now, it looks like we're heading toward a happy ending.